Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and so are you. If you're watching content like this, we're always sharpening and fine-tuning ourselves. I do it. You should be doing it. Everybody should be always looking to think, how can I make myself a little bit better today? How can I clean out some of that old stuff, right? The name of this channel is Manifesting Magic the Practical Way, and let's get started. So today I'm discussing the fact that you cannot trick the universe, right? So when I say universe, I'm always referring to the creator, the one, the God for so many people. When we say God, sometimes it feels a little watered down. Now, universe feels watered down to me too, but nonetheless, I'm talking about the creator of this all, the thing that the supreme entity that did this bing and put you here on this earth, right? That's what I'm referring to, right? So it's not a lack of acknowledgement for gods or anything like that. I remember I used to say universe all the time to to my mom, but like somebody along, might have been my mom or my dad, and they were like taken aback because I grew up in a very religious environment. Like, universe, what do you mean? Like, I was trying to take some credit away from the creator. And I'm like, no, that's just another way of saying everything that it encompasses, right? Because when you say God, sometimes it kind of throws people off if they think God can only be attached to religion, right? So nonetheless, you can't trick the universe. This is so important for us to remember. So a lot of times we get involved with people, places, and things that we soon really quickly feel like does not match us as a person, does not match our vibe, does not match who we are, right? But yet we're intermingled with these people, places, and things, and we're living and co-creating everyday life in the places and the environments, right? So if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then it's a duck, right? You've attracted these things in your life for a specific reason. And the reason why I say that is because I often hear a lot of conversations based on people saying, I don't know how I'm such a positive person and I attract these negative people into my life, right? I'm like, that's not possible. It's not possible because they wouldn't even hit your radar. They wouldn't even be in your space. And when I say you can't trick the universe, is that you may have all of the outer trappings together. You may have all of the right books on your bookshelf. You may have all of the right journals. You may have all of the right people connected to you on so many different levels, like on your YouTube channels and all the right channels and things like that. But in your real life, you've attracted something that you feel is not exactly the level at which you are. And the bottom line is that you can't trick the universe. So when we find ourselves in these situations, the first thing that we need to always do is take some self inventory. I always say that. Look around and see in what ways are you contributing or participating in this thing that you say is unwanted in your space. Because we're always participating if it's in our space. It can't be possible. If it's not on your frequency, then it's just not on your frequency, right? Someone was telling me a while ago, I was having a conversation with a supervisor I used to have, and he was like, we would have these really thoughtful, intellectual shindigs at least once or twice a week. And it's so funny. I still talk to him today. Now I just went to lunch with him like last week because I really enjoy his conversation and all that, and we are really good colleagues. And he's like, um, I don't see. He was like, who are all these people that are? And what he says, who are all these people that are poor or something he was talking about, or like, I don't see people anymore that are like, dragging shopping carts around and all these kind of things and not being able to afford groceries and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, dude, you're just not on that frequency anymore. I'm like, they're there. They're everywhere. They're there. What are you talking about, dude? I'm like, you don't frequent the neighborhoods anymore. You're not in the environments anymore. Your life has outgrown that frequency. But that's the biggest mistake that we can make is that just because of our energy, who we are has outgrown a frequency, a level that it no longer exists. Yeah, people are still doing that, right? I mean, I used to do that all the time. I'm like, people still doing that? Yeah, they're doing that. You just be grateful and blessed and feel good about yourself that you were able to pull yourself out of that trench and move on to something else that you can repair on another level, right? But I mean, like, yes, these things are still happening. And so one of the most interesting parts of it is that it made me clearly see that when you are no longer in the space of something or on the frequency of it, you really have a hard time attaching to it or making it any part of your life in your existence. So when you find yourself in a position where something very unwanted has showed up in your life, in your existence, the first thing you have to remember is that you can't trick the universe. What deep-seated belief systems or values or norms am I holding on to that's allowing these things to be created in my space? A lot of times we don't know until we start putting other people in our space and they start sharpening us and fine tuning us just by having a personality that conflicts with a lot of our ideals. This happens all the time in the workplace. And we have to remember, it's like, dang, I didn't even realize I held this ideal so deeply. I didn't even realize this was bothering me so much until this person was there. And then you realize, like, man, I didn't attract this because they're just so awful and they're manipulating and getting the best of me. I attracted this because I have this going on the inside of me right now. I know that was the case with this last position I was working. And I'm so happy I've taken this 2 months off work just to like breathe and like put myself back in position of where do I want to be in life. And some beautiful opportunities have shown up. But just to have the ability to take off from work like that and just take a step back and say, this isn't working for me. And while I made a lot of money there, which allowed me the grace and then having a very supportive partner, he allowed me the grace to be able to step back from it. In the midst of it, I couldn't believe the level of turmoil that I had set myself into and the level of gaslighting and inconsistencies. And it just was insane. And the only thing that I can think afterwards is like, dang, you had all that going on in the inside of you. And it wasn't fake. I really did. And didn't know it. Didn't even know the things that I was dealing with as far as my own focus and my own clarity about who I am and where I want to take my career and about being sharp about where it is I want to take my life next. Like I was really in the mode of survival and go with the flow because I had lived like that for so many years. And so this showed me that I was no longer in a place of survival and go with the flow because this is what this whole company was doing. All they were doing was surviving and going with the flow. There were no rules. There were no structures. There was no systems. There was no workflow. It was just chaos. And if I'm being honest, it's like everybody was working on a group project with the one micromanager. It's like, I feel like I'm in a group project in college that's never ending. And it's like, oh yeah, we should do this. Oh, let me see what you're doing. Oh no, we should do that. I'm like, where's the standards? It was none. And I'm just thinking like, where in your personal life did you not have standards? Where do you have no systems? Where do you have no clarity and no rules? Because I didn't just attract that place because of I'm so great and look at them trying to get the best of me and take me down. I stayed there for 7 months. That meant that for 7 months, I was definitely deep in that space of whatever chaos they had going on. I was co-signing it, right? And so we have to remember this. I was lacking clarity and sharpness in where I wanted to take my life and my career. My resume wasn't even focused. Like I was so many things that weren't in order, no systems in the way that I was handling money because I was so used to the binge and purge. Like I worked for like the whole semester and then pile up the money from work teaching these classes and then purge it through the summertime and then beginning the next semester. That's how I always lived. Lump sums, then purge, lump sums, then purge. I never had a consistent lifestyle in that kind of way. And it allowed me to stay at home with my daughters a lot because when you binge, you just do it all real quick and then you get a lot of free time that you get laid out. And I never took the time to sit around and think, okay, where do you really want to be? What kind of clarity do you need right now? What is it you really want to do with all this education and these things that you've gathered in life? And so getting to that space, I had to be really honest about what I was bringing into my environment. This also helped me even through divorce in the past, just in relationships. I never walk away looking at people and think, I was so much better than that person. And when someone asks me what happened in a relationship, and all I can say is what the other person was doing wrong. They didn't support my career. They didn't give me this. They didn't love me enough. They didn't treat me like I was this or that. And I'm just like, dude, what were you doing? Because it takes 2 to tango in everything, right? Or 3, depending on what kind of relationship you're in. But I mean, that is how that works. So I'm always leery when I walk up to people and I ask them about things like a previous position or a previous mate or a situation they were in, and all they can talk about is what the other people were doing in it. And I'm like, but you were participating. If you don't see your role in the chaos or whatever you've created in your environment, then you're always going to forever be on the end of talking about what other people did to you and how they took advantage of you and how they treated you. It's like, what were you doing to create that, right? And you can't fall back on the whole martyr. Oh, I was just trying to be everything and to everyone. No, there's a deep selfishness in martyrdom that you have to be honest with in order to truly attract those things that you would like to see more of. So no, you can't trick the universe. The universe is all up and through the nooks and crannies of your mind, of your body, of your spirit. The universe is in there. It is in there. It takes every feeling, emotion, happy, sad, ideas, ways you think, all of it is digitized and calculated. If you can see yourself as a quantitative being rather than a qualitative one on some occasions, you would definitely be able to think of, wow, my qualitative work is really just me expressing the beautiful and more, desired aspects of who I am, like the way that I explain things and rationalize it and make it, better than what it is. And I was like this and I was like that. And you're qualifying yourself in that statement. But what about quantifying yourself? Like if you really broke down what was on the inside and happening at all times, then you would see that, well, hell, I wasn't that far away from what that person was anyway. I mean, that's what I actually feel about. I mean, I went through a few years of feeling like, oh, my ex-husband was like this, or like that. I went through a few years of feeling like that, but then I got over it. I was like, dude, whatever he was doing, you were participating in whatever. If it was low self-esteem that had you, if it was your arrogance or your ego of not wanting to fail at a relationship, whatever it was in that environment, you weren't better than him. I wasn't. We were the same until we weren't. And that's just the truth of the matter. And so if you can keep that in mind, that there is no trick in the universe, there's no amount of affirmations. And I'm not saying don't do affirmations and meditation. There's no amount of affirmation, meditation, yoga, spiritual conquest, living in a jungle for 2 weeks that's going to make the universe believe anything until you are tried and true and tested in that thing. If it's something that you're dealing with, you're going to have to find a way to outdo it. And you can do that through yoga, meditation, using some discipline methods, using some affirmations. But at the end of the day, you will have to get down to doing the work. And when you know you've gotten the work done is when you see what's being attracted into your space. And that's all. Look at the results, right? That's what they say. To take advice from people, look at the results, right? If you look at their results and you say, hey, I want those results, right? Then, yeah, you can go listen to them. But taking people's advice without looking at their results is really, really tricky, because I won't say that it's not completely beneficial, but it's very tricky in a sense of they can only take you as far as they've grown and they've come, right? And that's how you are with yourself. You can only take yourself as far as you've grown and as far as you've come. And then you have to start creating new data, new neural pathways, new ways of seeing the world, because you're dissing the old ones. You're checking that stuff out. Low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-confidence, all the lows, right? Being attached to your race and ethnicity as your primary identifier, being attached to your gender as this is all who I am. I'm a woman, being attached to, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, being attached to those things. When you get down to the business of really, really, really digging down into deep who you are, that's when you'll have to say, oh gosh, I really need work there. Oh gosh, I am arrogant there. Oh gosh, I have so much pride there. Oh gosh. You learn to have your confidence and your humility in the room at the same time. I'll say that again. You learn to have your confidence and humility in the room at the same time. One doesn't have to check out for the other, because when confidence checks in without humility, it just turns into arrogance. And when humility checks in without confidence, it just turns into a doormat, a martyr. You have to be able to have those things in line at the same time. Creating boundaries is always important, right? But just know you can't trick the universe. It's going to give you exactly who you are and where you're at any given time. And the way you feel about where you are is also an aspect that is hugely important when it comes to moving from one level to the next in any area of your life. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed that message. You can't trick the universe. And until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Like and subscribe if you're into that too. Oh, I broke these earrings. I hadn't been able to wear them for a while, but I just love these little ceramic uh, flowers, and they have a tiny little green leaf on them. I've been having them for years, and this one broke off the back. And I normally don't fix things. I'm like, it's broken. Let's let it go. But I really like these, so I fixed them. Anyway, enjoy your day.